Hello everyone, welcome this time to Jimin's reading, Jimin of BTS. I'll be doing his reading today. I know it is a very expected one. There are a lot of people that has been asking me for it. So first of all, I would like to make the disclaimer that these tarot readings are for entertainment purposes only, and that I do not claim to know the boys and their lives and circumstances. So let's get started with this reading. As you know, I already pre-shuffled and placed the archetype cards. The archetype cards that I use are Carolyn Myss. She is the creator, and these are the ones that I use to dive into their personality before their general reading. So for Jimin, the first card that came up, it's networker. Which is actually very Jimin-like. Whoever knows him knows that he is very social. He actually is. He's very talkative. He's very expressive with words. He likes to share information. He likes to create like some kind of social awareness in the fact that it's important to build relationships and it's important to get to know people and being empathic, that it's important to get to know one another, and that it's always nice to meet someone new and to be like in communication. Because if you see this card, you can see someone is going around delivering letters. So if you have to adjust this image, this archetype to nowadays situation, I think it would be someone who would always be willing to text you, to send you a message, to call you, to email you. It's like he really likes and is very like is very like into technologies, and when he likes someone, or when he with his loved ones or with his acquaintances, he likes to stay in touch by technology, because of course we know that nowadays is what we use the most because of social distancing and other issues that we have going on. Sometimes networking it's the best way to keep being so social in a way. But in his sense, he used it to bring people together and sometimes to initiate relationships and initiate kind of bonds. It's like you can tell how much he likes you by the maybe how often he sends you messages or how often he texts you. He's someone that is very like is always on his phone. I mean, they all are, but he is the one who uses this device the most to communicate with someone, to talk to someone. And of course, he also is someone to be a networker. It's also to be able to work in nets, to be able to work in the field, to be able to get in contact with everyone. So he probably knows one thing or two about the members, about different people. So sometimes the downside of being a networker, sometimes it can lead to be a little bit like gossipy, because it's like he handles and he has so much information, maybe on his phone, maybe on himself, and he's like this kind of person that, since he likes to communicate that much, maybe sometimes that can be a little bit like annoying for someone that is very reserved with their matters. It's like they don't want to talk sometimes about their private life, and maybe he's like always wanting to connect. And some people that are like more introvert side, they don't want to connect. They don't want to connect. Maybe answer him back, and sometimes he feels hurt because of this, because he takes time to develop the relationship. And of course that texting and sending a message and typing, it's like some kind of effort. So he shows his appreciation in that way. So whenever he doesn't have a response back, he feels like really like betrayed in that sense. And I talked about the downside of maybe the more not so bright side of this archetype, because when I tried to draw it, it was like upside down. So whenever like this a card is reversed, that I don't read them in reverse, but it has a meaning when it's reversed, and it talks about the darker side of the card. So I had to bring it up because it's probably that he's a networker, but sometimes he can gain like some kind of beneficial for being the one that holds the information. It's like he has a lot of information about a lot of people, and sometimes that gives him some kind of benefit. The next card, and also I wanted to say that soon I'll be doing the moon of their astrology birth charts, and I'm going to address to the moon of each of the members, because astrology is really complex. So if I have to explain the whole birth chart, it can take like forever. And actually I would like to dedicate, because I always like, whenever I study astrology, the sun sign and the moon sign are very important aspects of a person. So especially in emotional aspect. So I will soon I'll be also doing like a video about their moon sites in their birth charts. So for example, whenever I think about the networker, I always think about the moon in Gemini, and Jimin is a moon in Gemini. So it does make sense that this card came up. So the next card that came up that also talks a lot about his energy, it's Femme Fatale, that it talks about someone that it's very flirtatious, very like siren-like, very like a flirt, like someone that is really good at seducting, at attracting others, at using their own beauty to get others people's attention. It's someone that enjoys the attention, enjoys being looked at, enjoys being seductive, enjoys to look good and to be appreciated by others. It's as if he likes to have everyone's eyes on him, and to be praised by the way he looks. Not only the way he looks, because actually to be a seductress, to be a femme fatale, well, in his case it talks about his feminine side, because we know he is a male, but he does have like, is very in touch with his feminine side. So the femme fatale archetype is not all about being attractive and to being looked at. It also is about expressing seductiveness and expressing like the erotic side of oneself with all your body, So it can also reflect in his his experience and in his expression as a dancer, we know that the way he dances and the way he performs, he can be really like hypnotic and really like intense. And it's like you cannot take your eyes away from him. It's like you are memorized by every move he makes. And you cannot like decipher or decide what is it about it. Like it's like he can be doing like the most classical dance move, and still it's like alluring, it's like sexual, it's like hypnotic, it's powerful. So I think this archetype is very suiting for Jimin, and also because he's a Libra. So sometimes people with Sun in Libra, they have this reputation of being really attractive, of liking to be in love. They always like to be in relationships. They like to conquer others with their beauty, and they are pretty often they are very beautiful people because their sign is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, and the goddess of love. So they do have like a kind of vibe and aura about them that makes them really attractive, and also makes them really dreamy, in the sense that people tend to fantasize about them. But I always talk about Jimin because I know his spirit chart, and I know he's not the typical Libra, because he does have like a strong influence of Scorpio energy. So I always emphasize this, is that yes, he's attractive, yes, he is dreamy, yes, he's very well mannered, yes, he's very delicate, but at the same time he is very raw, in the sense that he is really sexual and he's really sensual, and he's someone that enjoys get in touch with his sexuality. Is someone that enjoys to be sexual. So it's nice that this came up, because it definitely is an aspect of him that it's very like that you can see it, but also that you can see it being played in his personal relationships also. He's very magnetic, and I always say this about this tendency sometimes of being very alluring and very seductive, is that sometimes you can get like maybe unwanted attention, in the sense that since you are very attractive and since you are very seductive, everyone is looking at you in that way, and everyone wants to be with you and everyone wants to pursue you. And sometimes maybe that, in the sense that if you are in a committed relationship, sometimes you need to be careful in that aspect, to not lead people on if that is not what your intentions are. So what he needs to learn is to give like an appropriate use of the expression of sensuality, but not to do it for fun only, and not to express it or being flirtatious just because he's boring, or just because he noticed that the other part is interested and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm bored, let's play. Because sometimes there are people that can get like obsessed, and there are people that sometimes can get a bit dangerous whenever the people that they are attracted to is not does not love them back or does not want them back, because he is a Libra, and of course, like when you are an earth sign, sometimes you can be like a little bit like it's hard to get or hard to commit, in a sense that you like to see your options, and you like to consider other options until you get married or settle down. So you have to be really careful who you show that sexy side of yourself to, because there are a lot of people that can get a little bit creepy and possessive, and those things those things can happen to a male also, not only a female. It can happen to a male also. But in this sense, since he's an artist, I do not fear for him, because actually his career, it's about being attractive, and it's about to be nice to other people's eyes. So he has like in his work, in his he has the way he has like the whole stage to display this femme fatale and to switch it off whenever he goes back to his real life and his real interactions. But he needs to be careful with that tendency of being like really seductive, because there are people that take it really seriously. And the next card that we have is dilettante. I don't know how to say it in Spanish, but it says dilettante. So dilettante, it's someone that really enjoys to do like artistic activities without going too in depth on it, without the need to be a professional. It's as if he tries to make like a painting, like the woman in the picture is like, see, she's making a painting, she's making like a pot with some plants, she's writing a book, see, she's making all these kinds of expressions of art, but at the same time it's like she doesn't take it seriously. It's like it's not that she chooses one and specializes in one, and sometimes maybe this can be like, this has like a negative side, in the sense that maybe the card, what tells you in this archetype, is that maybe you have the tendency to practice different activities, but actually you don't take your time to be profound and to really dive into the activity. It's like you practice a lot of activities and you don't commit to it. It's like you don't spend time working on it. Actually, we know that obviously Jimin is one of the main dancers, and he has been good in dancing since he was really young. So we know that his main skill is dancing and singing, of course. But actually, we don't know. That's one of the things that I paid attention in when I was watching in the soup. That you know that everyone were like really like building the toys, and some were painting, and some were like maybe JK was his with his guitar, with his punching bag, boxing, and the other guys went running. And actually, what caught my attention with Jiminy was that he was a bit undecisive of what to do or how to spend time, like doing an activity, and he then got convinced to maybe like make the design of these shoes that Hobby was making. So he was like, oh, I'm going to draw a tree, and he did it beautifully. But actually he wasn't really sure about what to do until he saw Hobby doing it. And then when he was carving wood, it's the same. He did it because the other members were doing it, but it's not as if it was something that it came from him, or maybe actually it wasn't like how can I say it? It wasn't like an obligation that they have to do a certain activity. I mean, they have options, obviously, but I saw the others more committed into doing the activities. It's like the other guys were with the boats, with the motors. Tae and Jun were with, and then the others were like cooking and were like going jogging, and so, and I didn't see like Jimin do a lot of activities. I mean, he joined the others that were already doing something, but it was like it didn't came from him. So I think this aspect is, it talks about it. It talks about, for example, you see JK, and JK was with his guitar. Every now and then he wasn't like all the time playing the guitar, but he brought it with him, so it was like, yes, I have this thing. We know that JK also is so they say that he is the one that takes like a lot of tasks that he wants to learn, and sometimes he doesn't concentrate, and it's like he wants to accomplish like a lot, and that doesn't like get profound in the learning process. So I think this is what it says, is that he's really good at the artistic activities, but he doesn't like get too involved in the learning and the crafting of that activity. Maybe it's because he don't have one besides dancing. Of course, we know that he's a perfectionist, and I think this has a lot to do with that, because he knows that once he puts his mind on it, is that he can get a little bit like obsessive with it. So I think that is why he wanders from activity to activity, because he doesn't want to get too profound, because he knows he has this tendency of getting really anxious about it. But it definitely talks about a trait of him. So I'm going to start the general reading, because I've been talking for 22 minutes. It's just that the cards say so much about him, and it's really, I think it's the first archetype cards that really spoke to me about, it's like I can see it, in the sense that I can see it in his birth chart also. So it's really amazing to see how the archetypes work. It's like really something. It always happens to me whenever I'm doing readings for others, but it's really like pleasantly surprising that it happens with him. Oh, this one wanted to come into. Okay. There are a lot of emotions here. There are a lot of it's like I don't have the place. I'm going to move them, so because I wanted to see, and also I wanted to show you. I'm going to start with this and then with this. Actually, this is like the first month for him. Is going to be really hard for him emotionally. He's really sensitive right now when it comes to emotions. It's like whenever you are going through like emotional part of your life, whenever someone like talks to you about something, and then you suddenly start crying or something like that. He's like really emotional in that sense, because he feels that he cannot wait anymore. It's like he has tried to stay patient. He has tried to keep all his emotions bottled in, but actually he has some fears, and it has a lot to do with this waiting process that we are all going through, about this pause that we are all into because of the COVID situation. So it's like it had effect, it had a toll on his emotional well-being, because he feels like really emotional. He feels like, I cannot say that he feels sad um, or depressed, because it's like a mix of emotion, but all of them are like tangled, are like are like all messy and entangled with each other, are like, he's like a whole sea of emotions, and he doesn't know what to do with them. He probably needs someone to talk to. I don't know if they have like a counselor, because actually Jimin is someone that can heal himself by having a very trusting environment where he can talk about and put into words what he feels and how he feels, because it's like everyone around him is like, okay, yes, yes, we understand that you are feeling sensitive, we are also feeling sensitive, we must go on. This is the sense. And I think I also saw it in Jean's reading, when I was saying that they are like constantly like, okay, we need to produce this, we need to do this, okay, let's go, let's move on to the next stage, to the next activity, to the next thing, to the next concept. And they are not stopping to see them, to see what's going on inside of themselves as people, because they are people and they're human beings and they have emotions. And in the case of Jimin, he does obviously has emotions, and he feels powerless. He feels he's afraid of failure. He's afraid of failing army. He's afraid of not feeling good enough. It's like he has these moments in his life where he feels like really weak, but he doesn't show it. It's like he tries to hide it because he's always busy. But now that we are in quarantine, that we are in lockdown, that we are forced to stay in, it's like he's getting like out of control, in the sense that he cannot hide it anymore. So he might try to find ways to cope with it, because he's like, it's like he doesn't know what to do whenever he feels the way he feels. And there's something about him feeling that he is not good enough, and I don't know where this comes from, because actually he's really good at what he does, but he does have this constant fear about failure, about not being this emperor. This emperor, it's about confidence, it's about you being able to look at your past winnings and say, oh yes, I made this, to be proud of everything that you'd accomplished. This emperor figure is not someone that the success came to him and he just had it. No, he fought for it. He worked for it. So he is having like a hard time, like getting in touch with his more masculine and like more like raw and prideful side of himself. Is like he's having a hard time. And then we have the next cards that came out, also talk about emotions, talk about destiny. So I think it has a lot to do about because he's very emotional, but at the same time I think it has a lot to do with someone that he wanted to be with, and that he like things are not working out. I think it's someone that he was with, but it was like hidden because we have the high priestess here. So it was someone that he felt that it was, sorry for that noise, it's my cat trying to get in. Sorry. So it's like a connection that he had. And he really like he really like wanted to be with this woman, with this person, but it's like, I don't know if this woman was already in a relationship, but it was something that was hidden. But at the same time, like it was like almost like forbidden. So I don't know if I have the feeling that he was like hoping that they would end up together, that it was meant to be. It's something about destiny. So it's like this feeling of failure. I think this is where this comes from. It's this feeling of not being good enough, not being man enough, like not being stable enough to provide for this woman that he felt that it was a special connection for him. Actually, he saw her like almost like a soulmate connection. So it was hard for him to come to the realization that it was not going to work out, because it was like an off and on thing, like an off and on connection. So maybe there were periods where they were together, or there were periods where they were in contact with each other, and then there were periods where they weren't. So that was what left him confused, and he thought he would get over her, that he would find someone else, but actually it had like hurt him in a deep level. So it is like it hurt him in his masculinity, because it's like he wished he would have done more to keep her, or maybe to make her mind, but it's like he couldn't convince her, because actually sometimes he can be like a bit indecisive, and it's like sometimes whenever he makes his mind, it's like it's too late. It's like he makes his mind whenever like things are not in the same stage anymore. So it confuses the other person, because maybe the other side, the female side, is waiting for him to make his mind. And in that moment, he doesn't want to make his mind, or he's busy, or he doesn't know what to do. So it's like it's not the perfect timing, it's not the right timing for them. Maybe in the future they will, but for now it's really uncertainty. And actually he's trying to focus. There's someone else, a female that it's like more passionate and more straightforward to him, that is going to appear or make her intentions, her moves toward him, like really clear in the next 6 months. But actually it's going to leave him like empty again, because he's going through a phase where actually he doesn't want to connect. He doesn't want, because he doesn't know if he will get over this person from the past. That is actually, I cannot say if it's from the past, because I think he's still in touch with her. So this new person can come and they can get to know each other. They can go on dates. Maybe it's really fun, and things happen really quick. And she's like really into, as we said before, she's really into communication. But actually in his mind there's this fear, and there's this like need to make things right, and actually he doesn't feel like he's ready emotionally to invest his emotions on someone else. Besides, he's not really, he's not in this, that state where you feel apathy, and actually you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to date anyone, you don't want to like get ready on a date. It's like he's not in this femme fatale mode. He's not in that mode. It's like he doesn't want to attract anyone. He knows that this woman advances towards him are going to be really like crystal clear. She's going to be really straightforward with him, but actually he's not that interested because his heart is somewhere else. So let's see an advice for Jimin. Yes, the advice is it's like he's carried a lot of he feels heavy. He feels like he carried a lot of weight on his shoulders. He has a lot of responsibilities. He feels like guilty most of the time. So now you can see my cat, because of course it's like Jimin's reading. So of course my cat had to do an appearance. And now you can see her tail. She's Luna, by the way. She wants to be here, but at the same time she wants to get out. So she will have to wait. So this card is about feeling oppressed, about feeling oppression. So I think this indicates that he needs to focus more on the things that he can control, and not get his life more complicated than it already is, because he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. He has a lot of responsibility. It's like these boys feel responsible feel the heaviness of being who they are. So sometimes they do feel oppressed, or they do feel like they are not 100% normal when it comes to and this kind of interactions, and sometimes failing in relationships, or the attempt of having a relationship, is like they feel really frustrated, because it's like they wished things were simpler for them, and they always like fantasize like what would have happened if I wasn't an idol, if I wasn't. It's like they always daydream about how would their life be. They don't regret the fame and everything. They don't regret it because they work a lot for it. But when it comes to relationships and interacting with others and trying to establish a connection, they do feel like they are lacking in some experience, and sometimes it's like they don't know what to do. They want to do what's right, but they don't know like the I don't know how to say it, but they don't know how to proceed. What are the procedures? What are the steps for conquering someone? What are, and even if they would know it, they cannot do it. They cannot pull it off, because they are very in a public image, so they cannot go around like making like romantic gestures for everyone to see, because actually their life, their personal life has to be like really shielded. So it's like they want to stay real to what they feel, but at the same time they don't know how to do it. So Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to finish the reading here. I hope you enjoyed it, and that if you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe. So I'll see you next week for Taeyong's and Jungkook reading. So I'll see you next week. Bye.